2, 1. Log Talk Radio.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another edition of the Free American Hour. I'm your host. I am Clay Douglas. I am the Free American and have been for many years here. Perhaps many more than any of us are really aware of. My guest today is MeSah. We bill her as a spiritual medium. She's a pastor. She's a student. She is learning. And she's passing on that knowledge to you. As a matter of fact, it's her business, and she will give you contact information, tell you where you can find her if you wish to take advantage of what you're getting for free right now. Hello, MeSah, how are you?
I'm fine, Clayton. How are you?
I'm doing well. I've got a number of things. The last time we talked about time travel, reincarnation, and all that. Somebody was saying reincarnation ain't real, but we've got cases that have been documented of children, 7, 8 years old, 10 years old, flying back with their parents to Korea, I believe it was, and the child could show his parents where he died during the Korean War. So
yeah.
I think there's plenty of evidence to say that we do come back, and I have past memories. I can remember helping build the pyramids, or at least recording it. I don't think I've ever been much of a Mason, but we had two things I've got two films up that we can talk about the government time travel, and I've also got a little clip here from a Mayan explanation of what's going to happen in December 21st, 2012. There is an alignment of planets or stars or suns or galaxies occurring on this day.
Yeah, we go into a perfect alignment with the galactic center.
Now, by the way, there is something that travels faster than light. I've just uncovered that research. Again, prominent scientists, but they are telling you this because they don't want you to know any of this. And that's gravity.
Well, you know, there's lots of things that travel faster than light, and Einstein really never said nothing could go faster than the speed of light. What he said was, if you're using the speed of light as the measuring rod, then you can't see or connect with anything that's going faster, because you're limiting yourself by using the speed of light as your standard of measurement.
And as far as the speed of light goes, there is, again, things that are faster than that. teleportation, for instance, and they have refined that. They say they figured it out. They've got it here. We've also got stories popping up about a big secret move because they've recovered a Vimana over in Afghanistan. Probably a few of those hanging around Iraq. That is a UFO to you folks. It's a UFO. They've been around for 10,000 of years. Which kind of brings me to the point I wanted to make here. That perhaps the Mayans, the Egyptians, who we think of as separate people somehow, were all part of a worldwide plan because they knew this was coming. They knew it was coming 6,000 years ago. They knew it was coming in 2012. We have a tendency, thanks to Hollywood and the Jewish control of the media, to think of the Indians as savages, to think of Indians as the Mayans as, let's see, who was it? Steven Spielberg that made one? No, it was Mel Gibson. I'm sorry, Mel Gibson made one. But they tried to show the Indians as savages, and I believe, if you ask yourself right now, what will we have left in this house I'm sitting in? Will that be around in a 200 years, 300 years? I don't think the RV's got that kind of a warranty on them. But what would civilization look like 6,000 years from now with what we got right here? If all of our computers went out tomorrow, if all of our technology went out the window tomorrow, in history would look back on us as a pretty primitive people, wouldn't it?
Yeah, you know, my information has been that when Atlantis was on its downward spiral, that some of the people knew what was happening and they got off and they went to all parts of the world. They went to Egypt, they went to Central America, they went to South America. They went all over, and that there is such a similarity, and they took a lot of their, you know, Atlantis was very technologically beyond us, and they took a lot of their technology with them, and so therefore we have a similarity between the pyramids in Egypt, the pyramids in Central and South America, some of the things all around the world. There's a thread. And you're right, you can follow that thread and see that there's a connection between all these different people. You know, we think of them as separate peoples, but they're not. They originally came off of Atlantis and got off before that continent took its last
and created in these pyramids that they've created. This is beyond anything that we can do today with our much vaunted technology. And what I find really interesting about this is I wrote about this migration. See, I don't believe that they went just to other continents. I think it was a small handful of people, the priests and people like that were there, and there were some primitive people there. There were some Neanderthal that hadn't quite, you know, they were short, they were a little stocky. You know, we've seen that from their suits of armor. They weren't like us today very much. They were very much smaller. And those may have been the original people there. The priests and the pharaohs and the people that ruled had a much advanced civilization, a much advanced control, and they could do anything that we do today and a lot more. I mean, they had atomic weapons, they had UFOs, they were able to do spacecraft. I believe a lot of those people migrated to other worlds, and we call them Pleiadians today, or aliens, or something like that. I think they just migrated out of here because in the last conjunction, the last lineup, maybe Planet X was in there, maybe Mars or Venus got out of whack, and they knew there was going to be a disaster. So in the novel that I wrote, the short story actually that I wrote 45 years ago, I expressed this opinion and this scenario pretty well, even going back and editing and rewriting what I know with everything that's all the knowledge I've acquired in 45 years. You know, the question pops up, where did I get this? I mean, I did read every science fiction book in the library before I was 14 years old in Fort Worth, Texas. So
Yeah.
I got a little bit of the knowledge and the imagination from that, but there seems to be much more than that. Am I imagining things? Am I, you know, or you know?
I think that you're remembering, and whether humans got off this planet, went to other systems of worlds, or other systems of worlds came to us, we know that there's been a lot of back and forth between extraterrestrials and humans, between divine beings and humans. You know, a divine being is a little different than what we would call an ET, but there's been such so much communication between all these different beings at different points in their evolution. And I think that, you know, you would have those memories. I remember past lives, and there's a lot of cases of people remembering past lives. So some of that information would certainly be there in your particular history and in what's called the Akashic records, and you are connected with that, so you have access to those memories. Normally we don't remember past lives because we have enough to deal with in any given life. We don't need to be burdened by past lives, but it'll bleed through. And you know how you can meet somebody and you immediately feel like you've known them before, and there's a closeness and there's a tie.
There's somebody I have on every Friday I get that feeling with. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I can relate to that. And you know, that's almost always a past life connection, and it's like two souls saying, "Oh, hi, how are you? It's so nice to see you again, and how have you been? And you know, what have you been up to?" And there's just that sense of comfortability and knowing. And it's actually the same when you meet somebody that you immediately don't like. You probably have in your past some kind of not so great history with that person, and there's kind of an animosity that rises up. So those things, you know, there's reasons.
Now there's another thing here, and this is what I've been trying to deal with for 20 years. You know, who was responsible for Waco? Who was responsible for World War I? Who was responsible for World War II? And it seems that they certainly don't want you to talk about it. Now, I have an almost instant animosity to a group of people, a group of organizations. I mean, we're talking about high-profile, high-powered, direct access to Homeland Security, to the FBI, to you know, fusion centers all around the country, which I believe they created to handle people like me. It's really a matter of good versus evil. We're in as Dr. Jake Wade, my dean, and the founder of Timothy Bible College says, you know, the churches are taken over by religiosity, which are the elite manipulating the churches, telling them what they can talk about, what they can't talk about. Voltaire 200 years ago said, you know, you can identify who your rulers are by those you're not allowed to criticize.
Yeah.
And at one time that was royalty, at one time that was queens, one time that was deans, you know, nobles, princes, Romans, and this has always been the evil. Has always, because they want to rule, they want to own, they want to steal from you. They've always been in charge. So you know, I think it's never been exactly. Can you give me a time in history when it was easy to be free?
I don't know if there ever was, and I don't know that freedom. You know, we talk about freedom, and we talk about freedom in the physical world. And certainly when this country was first started, it was an experiment. We're supposed to be free and have physical freedoms. Ultimately, freedom is only found spiritually, because you always have those people that, like you say, want to control the physical. And more than that, they want to control your energy field. And, you know, that gets into what you and I were talking about with the Mayan Elder, talking about being magnetic beings, electromagnetic beings. Because when we look at, if we look at everything from the level of energy, we get beyond the physical and look at the level of energy, which is a deeper way of understanding what's going on, then our energy or our light field, when you see someone's aura, you see light, and it'll have different colors in it and different shapes in it, and those colors and shapes have specific meanings, and they're changing all the time. Well, that's really, when we talk about the fight between good and evil, or light and dark, the dark, evil, no longer has that light. They don't carry that light within their electromagnetic field. So how do they get it? They get it by stealing it from someone else. So who are they going to steal it from? The children of God. Because the children of God are the people that have the direct connection with God and carry that light.
You know,
so,
I've had preachers in these religiosity church say, Clay, how come we never see you in church? And I said, does God talk to you and tell you what to say to your flock? And they stutter a bit, and then they go, well, yes. And my answer is, he talks to me, too. He tells me what I'm supposed to tell people. He sends me signs on what direction I'm supposed to go on a certain day, where I'm supposed to go, what I'm supposed to accomplish.
That's right.
And you know, God's alive and well on the internet. Of course he uses the internet. He invented it, not Al Gore.
Yeah.
Because the internet mimics the Akashic records. I can find anything I want here, but I could do that before too. It would just come to me in the library. It'd come to me in a book. It'd come to me from somebody because somebody wrote it 200 years ago, like the Protocols of the Elders of Zion.
Yeah. You know, the internet is kind of a, well, in my mind, it's kind of a bad replica of the Akashic records, but
yes. Cheap version done in Hollywood, you know.
Yeah, but you can certainly Google about anything. You may not get a lot of great information, but you're going to get information, you know.
Yeah, try Clay Douglas, folks. See what comes up. It's about 2 pages long, and if you throw the Free American in there, you got a library of reading.
Yeah. So yeah, and you know, God works through people. And God uses whatever God can use to get whatever message God's trying to get to us. And you know, and I know it can come through synchronicity. It can come through what we call coincidence, although I don't really think there's much coincidence that goes on.
I think it's synchronicity is more like it. I mean, when I got up this morning, I had no idea what we were going to talk about. And let's I've even got clips up here that just came in now. One of them came from you, but one of them came from out of left field. I got no idea where it came. I don't know how they got my email address. I don't know how I got it, but maybe God sent it to us. This is a Mayan Elder giving an explanation. I've got it stopped here at one particular cut. I'll put it up on Facebook, on my Free American 69 on Facebook. And folks, if you want to support this show, you can go to my Free American 69 page on Facebook and see a lot of these films, a lot of the things we're talking about now. You can do that, and you can make a donation through PayPal to Clay at Free American, because we do need that. Now, MeSah, I believe I said at the beginning of the show that this is your business. You run a business, consulting business, spiritual medium, and people can pay you to do this. Can you give them some information on that?
Well, this is my business, and this is what I do, and I do several different kinds of things. I do healings, I do discussion, teaching. I hate to say teaching because I think we teach each other, but I certainly share information when I can. I do spiritual readings. I work with people and animals. I do matrix energetics, which is a way of accessing the quantum field, which opens up a person's perspective to new possibilities. And I do all kinds of things. And my website is www.mesah.weebly.com, and that pretty much lists everything that I do.
Okay, that's all linked underneath your show, under this show here. So, folks, all you got to do is while you're listening to her talk, you can click on her website. So we've got that done.
Yeah, and so I've been fortunate enough to be able to do this as a way to make my living, and I feel very much gratitude, and I feel blessed to be able to do that. Because it's what I love to do.
I appreciate you being on my show. I appreciate you, being consulting me and being on my show every Friday. I think it's just it's refreshing to know, folks, it ain't as bad as they want you to think it is, because they want you to be afraid. They want you to be very, very afraid. They want
That's
you,
right.
And that's not the way to handle it. We don't want to be angry and sink to their level. We don't want to be afraid, because when you're afraid, you don't think clearly. And what are they going to threaten you with? Oh, they could kill you. Okay. Gee, you see, nobody gets out of this one alive anyway.
Well,
in this particular existence, folks. But there is another level. I've come back. She's come back. You've come back. You just don't remember it. You don't know about it, and that's what we're trying to do. Now let's hear this. What we're talking about here, folks, is quantum physics, and the Mayans, or the Atlanteans, had that knowledge. They knew about the vibrational energy. They knew about the energy that's going to be coming. They built the pyramids for a purpose. And let's hear what this Mayan Elder has to say for just a few minutes, and then we'll do the second half of the show. Hang on.
A particle accelerator is worth millions of dollars.
Y los desaceleradores de partículas
And the particle deaccelerators
valen como 30,000 pesos.
are like, 30,000 pesos. It's like $3,000. More or less.
3,000 pesos. 3,000 dólares, no sé.
Yeah.
¿Sí?
$3,000.
¿Cómo funcionan?
So how do they work?
En el mes de mayo,
In the month of May,
yo reuní un grupo considerable de gente, de personas,
I gathered with a large group of people
en Yucatán.
in the Yucatan.
¿Sí? Gente que tenía conciencia despierta,
People who were awake in their consciousness.
y empezamos a trabajar con el agua
And we began to work with water.
y creamos una fórmula.
And we created a formula.
Esta fórmula,
This formula,
junto con otros elementos,
together with other elements,
es capaz de absorber protones a 100 kilómetros a la redonda.
is able to absorb protons about 100 kilometers all around it.
Si hay un protón que sale
So if a proton is released,
a 100 kilómetros de donde tenemos esta pirámide,
within 100 kilometers of where we have a pyramid,
la pirámide absorbe el protón desde abajo
the pyramid absorbs the proton from below
a través de un sensor,
through a sensor,
lo mete a un área de resonancia
through an area of resonance,
y luego lo introduce a un cubo
is then introduced to a cube
que tiene un circuito por dentro,
that has a circuit inside of it.
en el cual la partícula, como viaja a la velocidad de la luz,
And so as the particle is traveling at the speed
es
of
muy
light,
fuerte.
and it's very strong,
Este circuito lo metimos dentro de un agua
we put this circuit inside of inside of water
que no genera electricidad,
that cannot generate electricity.
nada más la absorbe,
It just absorbs
es
it.
el agua destilada.
And this is distilled water.
Entonces, en 130 litros de agua,
And so in 130 liters of water,
el protón se desacelera
the proton deaccelerates
y no pasa nada.
and nothing happens.
Entonces, hemos plantado unas pirámides en México,
And so we planted these pyramids throughout Mexico.
y ahora que yo regrese,
And so now when I return,
vamos a poner otras pirámides como de 60 centímetros
we're going to make smaller ones of about 60 centimeters
que tienen un oscilador. oscilador.
have an oscillator.
¿Sí? Y puede generar una frecuencia.
And this can generate a frequency.
Vamos a repartirla por todo el país.
And we're going to share it throughout the country.
Y cuando tú activas este oscilador,
And when you activate this oscillator,
jalas el campo de la pirámide,
and you pull the field of the pyramid,
¿sí? Y se mantiene como un colchón magnético en todo el país.
it's like a magnetic mattress throughout the entire country.
¿Sí? Y esto permite que los protones choquen
And this allows the protons to collide,
o que pierdan velocidad.
and so that they lose their velocity.
Al mismo tiempo estoy haciendo imanes por todo el país,
I'm also making magnets throughout the entire country,
imanes humanos.
human magnets.
¿Cómo los hacemos?
How do we do that?
A través de la geometría esta.
Through the geometry that we showed.
Cuando hacemos esto,
When we do this movement,
estamos generando un campo electromagnético en nuestro cuerpo
we are generating an electromagnetic field in our bodies.
y tu cuerpo se convierte como en un gran imán.
Your body becomes a great big magnet.
Y cuando tú vas caminando por la calle,
So when you're walking around the street,
activas el campo magnético de las demás personas.
you're activating the electromagnetic field of everyone around you.
Está muy bien la estrategia.
It's a good strategy.
Funciona.
It works.
¿Sí? Porque
Would you like to comment on that? I pulled that one out because I think it is wonderful. I've said when I walk into a room, you know, people are instantly become aware of me or afraid of me or interested. You know, maybe it's just me wearing dogs. Not everybody wears dogs, but
I wear my dog too, Clayton.
Harley riding Chihuahuas to you. They're very important puppies. VIPs, treat them like that.
Yeah.
But
Well, you know, we do always react to each other's electromagnetic fields, whether we're aware of it or not. And if you're ever in the presence of a God-realized being, which I've had the wonderful honor of being in the presence of 3 of them, not at the same time, their electromagnetic field is vibrating at such a high rate of speed that it literally allows my electromagnetic field to rise. And you can feel it. It's just this wonderful feeling.
I used to describe it. I said, you know, it's a woman's personality puts a screen around them. They may not be, you know, a model quality or anything, but the attraction there. There's something else that I could feel when I was 14 years old. I could feel it.
Yes.
Couldn't describe
Absolutely.
it. Didn't know what it was, but you were doing a good job of describing it.
Yes. Now the issue with that is whether somebody is working for the light or dark, someone that's working for the dark can have a very, very huge electromagnetic field, and you might run into them and go, wow, this person has so much power and yet they could be maybe using it for not great means. You have to be able to discern who's really of the light and who just has developed a lot of electromagnetic power.
Yeah, like Bill Clinton or John Hagee or something like that, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
And
because they do have a huge influence over people, especially when people are not aware of what it is that's influencing them.
And folks, if you start thinking in this manner, I mean, this is a different way of thinking, and I believe this just popped up on my screen. You know, the annual deaths from marijuana being 0, and peanuts kill 100 a year. So why is that illegal? Because it raises your level of consciousness, it raises your vibrational level, it puts you more in connection with the earth, and I just saw this the other day too. The earth vibrates at the same 7.62 frequency that you do. Are you aware of that? Can you elucidate on that?
Yes. And hopefully, you know, if we're vibrating at the same rate, then there is a rhythm, there's a connection. But a lot